Okay. Oh my god. Okay. We're not gonna fucking straddle the stool. That's a bad idea. Hello, Zuko here. My name is Jess, but I go by Zimmy on the internet because one time I was 15. So I am here to do my not October. It is August. I'm here to do my August reading wrap up. So I don't know if you've been following the last couple months of my wrap ups and stuff, but I've tended to average out about 20 books a month. And this month I was back down to not 20 books a month. I started the month being like, yes, I've started reading this one book. I'll finish it this month and it'll be in my wrap up. I haven't finished that book. I haven't physically read a single book this month, but I have listened to some audiobooks, most of which I don't actually own. So like this pile isn't reflective of what I actually read, but also I thought I was gonna read. That was dramatic. I thought I was gonna read A Cat, a Warrior, and I didn't, so this doesn't count. Okay, so the first book that I read this month was Of All the Stars and Teeth by Adalyn Grace, I believe. All the Stars and Teeth, know of. This is a like YA fantasy duology. This is book one in a world where like each island kind of has its own magic, and then the royal bloodline has this like soul magic, I believe. And like I thought it was a really fun book, but I totally zoned out the last like hour of the audiobook, or like 2 hours. The whole climax didn't retain any of it, so I might reread this one day. But I liked it enough. I gave it a 3-star review, which isn't terrible, but like it wasn't amazing. It was just like fun, but very straight. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I don't have like a lot to say because I truly don't remember reading it, like any of it, really. That's bad. But it's the truth. The second book I read this month was Verona Comics by Jennifer Dugan. This is a book about a girl whose mom and stepmom own a small independent comic store that is kind of trying to be taken down by a big like comic book Walmart, like a big corporation comic store. And the girl ends up starting to see the boy who is the son of the owner of that corporation, or whatever. This book was cute. This book was queer. This was just a nice like little contemporary book that didn't romanticize unhealthy behaviors, which I really appreciated. But I don't super remember reading this either, and I'm on the fence about actually buying it because I'm like, will I ever reread it? I don't know, but maybe. We'll see. I don't currently own it though, clearly, because it's not in my hands. I hope you can't hear my dog over there licking his face, sad pug. Are you licking your face? Rude man. He's a rude man. I gave Verona Comics 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a fun book. The next book I read was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is a novel written in verse about a young woman, from a strict religious home, writing poetry about her life experiences. That's kind of the best way I can put it, because I'm not the person who can describe things well, and I don't want to make it sound bad or like not do it justice, so I'd rather say less than say more and explain it poorly. I've never written a novel no, that's true. I've never written a novel in verse, but I've also never read a novel in verse before. I thought it was really interesting, and I can really see why this book resonated so strongly with so many people. Though it didn't super reflect my life experiences, I can super understand how it reflects a lot of people's life experiences. So that was nice to read. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It's probably like a 4.5. It wasn't my favorite book ever, but I really understood why people loved it, you know, if that makes any sense. The next book I read is The Miraculous by Jess Redmon. This is a book about a young boy trying to find miracles because his infant sister passed away 6 days after being born. It's really all I remember about it, so I can't go into a lot of I truly like was listening to audiobooks and then immediately forgetting them for most of the month. So I'm sorry that these reviews are not more in depth, but this is what I have. I liked this book. This was middle grade, I believe. It was a nice exploration on like grief and that whole shebang. But I truly don't have too much memory of the reading experience of it. But I know it was cute and I would recommend it. I gave this book, what did I give this book? I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. So, like, it was a good book. I liked it. I don't know if I'd pick it up either because I don't know if I'd reread it. Because clearly, again, I don't own it, or I'd be holding it up and it'd be in this pile. This pile looks so sad. I feel like most of my books, or my wrap-ups, I've been like having huge piles of books there, and right now it's 4 books. And not like 20. But like, I don't know. I can't let that make me feel bad. I still was reading, it just wasn't books I owned. Anyway, the next book I read, I did own. It was, I finished the 3rd book in this bind-up of the first 3 Wizard of Oz books. So this contained The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, The Marvelous Land of Oz, and Osma of Oz. So Osma of Oz focused on, if any of you watched that old sequel, Return to Oz, that I think Disney made, that was a sequel to the Wizard of Oz movie, it mostly was the plot of that movie. Or I guess that movie was mostly the plot of this book with a little bit of The Marvelous Land of Oz in it. But that followed Dorothy as she is swept off of a boat going to Australia. She's swept off into the ocean and she lands on like a piece of wood and she just hangs out there with a chicken until they come to some land. And they get attacked by the Wheelers that everyone was terrified of in the movies. And they run into like a queen who has a bunch of different faces and she wants Dorothy's face and Dorothy doesn't want to give her face, and they have to like, the whole, like, it's truly mostly follows it's truly mostly the story that they used for the Return to Oz movie. I liked it. I thought it was fun. So altogether, I mean, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because I've just been really enjoying reading the whole Wizard of Oz series, the first 15 books or whatever that L. Frank Baum wrote. I ended up getting an audio bind-up of all of them so that I can listen to them, but these copies are so pretty, and I don't know, it's fun. It's a fun book. It's a fun series. It's not just one book. I guess this was just one book. But I only read the 3rd novel story in this book. But yeah, I liked this book. It was super cute. The next book I read, or I listened to, but I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I'm gonna be honest. I've been having like, I mean, I think I've essentially said this already, but I've been having like a big struggle with focusing on audio lately. So I was listening to this, and I don't think I actually was following the story. There were so many characters, and it was non-linear, and my brain right now is like it's not listening to it. So I read it, I listened to it, but I don't think that I retained it or experienced it well enough that I can give it a rating. So I'm gonna reread or re-listen to this again one day when I'm in a clearer headspace with listening to audio, but I did listen to the whole thing. I retained bits of it, but I'm not really sure what was happening. So I'm gonna give this book a fair chance another time, because I don't think it was fair to rate this if I don't remember or know what was going on, because I couldn't focus, you know? But I'm excited to like have some kind of introduction to this book, because everyone talked so highly about it for a long time. Then I read / listened to a Sucky love story by Brittani Louise Taylor. Brittani Louise Taylor is a YouTuber who ended up in a bad and strange relationship with a man that she met online, which is fair. I mean, people meet each other online, but he quite possibly had very ill intentions towards Brittani and the child that they ended up having together. This whole saga, I guess, was happening on her YouTube channel, and I mean, there's videos, there's like a conspiracy theory video about it done by another well-known YouTuber. But yeah, this was a story that I wanted to get a full idea of, because I was super interested in it as it started becoming clear that something was wrong. And I super liked the audiobook because it was read by her, and I love that when it's an autobiography. It's a story about the person. I never know which one's which, but I love when it's like narrated by the author. I think that's really important to get the full scope of the feelings and stuff that went into the situations they had. So I loved this, and I gave it a solid, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm so proud of Brittani for getting out of that situation and being safe now. Another book that I do not have a physical copy of, I read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I was not going to be able to remember that all without looking at it, and it was by Grady Hendrix. So this is a book that follows a bunch of Southern housewives in the, I believe, 90s, maybe late 80s, who start a book club because they want to have something that is theirs and not their husband's. And a man ends up moving in on their street who seems really weird. Like, weird things start happening after this man moves in, and the main character is like, I think there's something really fucked up about this whole situation. So it follows this group of, like, housewives who are trying to solve this, and it's a good, like, female friendship book that doesn't focus on, like, teenagers or, like, young adults. It was fun. I actually really enjoyed this book. I know I saw a review from a man talking about how, oh, this is sexist and racist, but it seemed to be from a white man, and I'm like, no offense, but I don't want your opinion on what is sexist and what is racist, because you have experienced neither of those things. And I didn't find it sexist. I can say that. I thought it got the point it was trying to get across, and I don't think it was sexist. That's also just me. And I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was super fun read, fun take on vampires. It was fun. And the last books that I've read this month were in the complete collection of Oz Volume 2 by L. Frank Baum, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, and The Road to Oz. I'm currently listening to The Emerald City of Oz. These are all just, like, more short novels that follow Dorothy's adventures in Oz. It's fun because Oz is, like, a socialist country. They're like, yeah, we don't work, we don't have money here. Like, we do things for the betterment of people and to make everybody happy and make sure everybody has what they need. So I liked that. And I just like fun adventure books that don't have romance focuses or, like, any weird focuses. Like, it's just a fun adventure about a kid who goes to Oz. So these are super great. If you haven't read the first book, I highly recommend it. And if you enjoy the writing in the first book, I think it's super worth it to continue the series because it doesn't stop being fun. Like, I can see how someone might get bored. I'm putting this down because it's heavy. But I can see how someone would get bored if they were reading all 15 books back to back to back of the structure of the stories and how everything is done and the writing and stuff. But if you read them between other books and you like the writing in the first book, like, I think you're gonna have fun reading them or listening to them, because they're just sweet little books. So I haven't finished that one because there's still one more novel in there, obviously, that I haven't read because I think I already said that, but I'm really enjoying it. So I guess finishing of that one will be in my September wrap up. I can't believe it's already September. But yeah, that was, I think, kind of disjointed because I don't remember the books I have read in the first half of the month. But I hope that's okay. And I will see you whenever I do my next video. I have some things pre-filmed, and I'm going to have a 3rd quarter of the year book haul up at the end of September. So be excited for that because it's a big ol' pile. I made some choices. I guess it's been 3 months, but I've made some choices. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you whenever I do my next video.